Welcome to the I Hate Critics Movie Review Podcast. I am professional film critic Sean Patrick. With me is Jeff.
I'm the Crypt Keeper.
Jeff, where can people get your art?
JeffLassiter.com is my website. You can generally find me on all the socials under some variation of that. So
you can find me on most of the socials, except for at the moment you can't find me on Blue Sky.
Uh-oh, what happened?
I'm very annoyed by this. I'd been getting these weird things where something somehow was reposting items onto my Blue Sky. And I'm like, so I changed my password and I added multi-factor login and it kept doing it. So I sent a message to Blue Sky saying, hey, can you do anything about this? Something is reposting things on my account. And they sent me a message saying I was suspended for suspicious activity. And I'm like, I'm the one who reported it. It's me reporting this suspicious activity. How can you ban me?
Welcome to the Fediverse. Well, I mean,
expect this kind of trash from Elon Musk, not from our friends at Blue Sky.
Right? I did talk about the other day that I was that I had to make a new Facebook because something I posted 4 years ago that was fan art got my regular account banned. So
I'm sorry. That Jar Jar thing really triggered me, Jeff. That is a cursed image.
Wasn't Jar Jar.
I had to do something.
Everybody loves Jar Jar. Seriously, everybody loves Jar Jar. It's one of my best-selling stickers when I do a show.
I still see it in my nightmares.
No, anytime I've deleted any reference to Madonna off of all my socials because anytime I post fan art about Madonna, something happens. I get a strike or they're like, you're not allowed to post this. This is copyright infringement. I'm like, I'm literally just posting something I drew. I'm not.
It sounds like her management might be a little overzealous.
It's kind of like, okay, years ago I did a 9 to 5 piece and I did individual stickers.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was Dolly, and I put it up there and I named it Dolly on my Instagram, which was a mistake, and my Etsy, which was a mistake because I hadn't even had it up there like 24 hours. And Dolly's people were like, oh, I don't think so.
Wow.
And took it down. And it was art that I had done. But if you search Dolly Parton on Etsy right now, there are literally thousands of crappy AI generated bullshit, like where they just took a photo and they put it through AI, or they took a photo and directly off of her website or something and put it up and are selling it. And they've been sitting up there because I've literally watched one seller who has had stuff up, the same stuff, by the way, that they had 5 years ago. I check it like every couple months to see if they've sold out, or if they've, just like stopped making it, or if Etsy finally took away their shop. Nope. All of that's still there. So I don't know.
That's wild. I don't get that.
I don't know. Like, I guess if you draw her, if you take the time out to do some artwork based on her, then that's bad. But if you're just posting AI slop, that's perfectly fine. Not that I'm bitter at all.
Why would you be? I don't know. This week, of course, medium.com/realscope. The theme this week is female detectives. So already yesterday, I posted a review of the Veronica Mars movie. Today, I did a new review of Nicole Kidman in Destroyer, which is one of the most underrated female detective movies of all time. And I've got a new Longlegs review coming up later this week to continue the theme leading up to the release of Honey Don't on Friday, which to me is the biggest release. But then, did you even know that Ron Howard had a movie coming out this weekend?
Ron who? Oh, the guy who directed Solo. No, I did not.
Yeah, a new movie called Eden, starring Jude Law and Ana de Armas is coming out on Friday, and apparently just the company just didn't bother to tell anybody that Ron Howard has a new movie coming out.
Oh.
And just didn't bother to tell anybody, apparently, because there doesn't appear to be any kind of marketing campaign. It's just sort of here. But that seems to be the theme for this coming weekend for some reason, because I'm looking down this list. Well, I mean, first of all, it's the theme right here in our area, because like we have a local theater across the river from us that had 2 brand new movies, and like they didn't bother to tell anybody that they were there. So nobody got a chance to see Witchboard or Americana. Not that anyone was rushing out to see Americana, apparently, but it was available to us, Jeff, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah. But this weekend, I was mentioning, like, I say Honey Don't is probably the biggest title of the weekend, but like there is Eden coming out this weekend, and then there's a Relay, which has got Riz Ahmed, and like, what the fuck? Why aren't you telling people this movie is coming out? There's a movie called Trust that is coming out this weekend, which I don't know much about that one at all. Sophie Turner, I guess, is the star of that film.
I have planned my whole weekend around the fact that there was one movie coming out. So, Hollywood, get your shit together. What is like Hollywood being run by Apple?
It seems that way. And here they are bitching and moaning about nobody's going to the movies. Nobody's going to the movies. You're not telling us that you're putting out any movies. Yeah. There's a sequel to Hell House coming out this weekend.
What?
Hell House LLC Lineage.
But, I actually liked Hell House. I would definitely go see that movie if I knew it was here.
Yeah. Eli Roth had a movie out this weekend, but it only played at 10:40 at night the whole weekend.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Like, how are normal adults supposed to get to this movie? Come on, be serious. Be serious. Yeah. I am looking forward to Honey Don't, though. That movie, the trailer for that one looks incredible. Amazing cast with Margaret Qualley and Aubrey Plaza, of course, directed by one of the Coen brothers.
Well, if it's anything like Drive Away Dolls,
it's said to be the second in a trilogy of films that the kind of this lesbian kind of crime genre that he and his wife have cooked up.
Well, I'm there for it because I loved Drive Away Dolls.
That's a great movie.
I had a big, like, long discussion on how I was wrong because I love that movie, as if art isn't subjective. By someone who didn't like the fact that Margaret Qualley wasn't as hot because she was playing a lesbian. Huh. To which I replied, you know what? Take your misogynistic ass out of my face. Which they were like, I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound very good.
Yeah, that means you're a misogynist ass. I mean, it means you don't like women.
I'm just going to let
ask him to spell it. That's the fun one.
I'll let a woman explain it to him.
Speaking of misogyny, Amy and I watched The Brothers McMullen for the 95 podcast, and man, that movie hasn't aged well. That's one of those movies that like had an amazing reputation at the time, and 1995, like it was this big indie thing. It was one of the most important indie movies of the year, and all that bullshit. You sit down and watch this. No, it's Ed Burns, same guy, different name.
Yeah, that's same thing.
And you watch it now, and it's like this. If they just had therapy back then, this movie wouldn't exist. A whole subgenre. We wouldn't have a whole subgenre of just movies where assholes get women because the screenplay says so.
I'm willing to bet that there would be not enough conflict in the world for them to make movies about if men just went to fucking therapy.
Very true. I completely agree with that.
Go to therapy, Adolf. Come on. You know what? Let me try it out. Oh, I feel so much better. And we'd have flying cars by now.
It's true. That's true. I completely agree. But yeah, Amy and MJ and I will be talking about that hopefully in the next one, which I believe is coming out this week. Hopefully, depends on lots of different factors. We'll also have Dangerous Minds coming up as well, which also hasn't aged well.
Ooh. As I walk through the shallow valley of the shadow of death. Well, I'm not going to try. Coolio, rest in peace.
Yeah, everybody when that's the first thing they think of when they think of Dangerous Minds because the movie is so boring.
It's Michelle Pfeiffer backwards in a chair that I think everybody remembers from the video, not from the movie.
But my favorite part though is her disappearing accent. So she decided to play this Southern for some reason, even though the character she's playing is based on a woman who's from Pennsylvania. She's
Southern Pennsylvania, Sean.
Southern accent,
probably West Virginia. Practically West Virginia. Sorry.
Sure. It's very bad. It just comes and goes as she pleases. As she quotes Bob Dylan lyrics to gang member stereotypes,
which I'm sure they loved.
Oh well, it got through to them. Eventually. It got to their heart.
And to their dangerous minds.
Did you know, by the way, that movie is based on a book called My Posse Don't Do Homework?
Yes, I do remember that. Oh God, the 90s.
It's so fucking weird.
Everybody's like, "Oh, the 80s were so." I'm like, no, the 90s. Come on, the 90s had some truly weird shit.
What we've learned on the 93, 4, and 5 podcast is that we made a lot of really terrible movies. Like a lot of really terrible movies. We made far more bad movies in the 90s than we did good movies. I mean, it's rare. It's rare when we get a Clueless and we're like, oh, thank God, here's a fucking movie to watch. So we're watching the Brothers McMullen and Dangerous Minds. Fuck. Waterworld. That's the 90s.
Oh God. Waterworld.
Yeah.
Well, we're not doing much better with movies nowadays, though.
I mean, I think there's far more good movies today than there was then.
Well, yeah, but every once in a while you get something like The Boogeyman or something.
I'll take one Boogeyman for every 2 Dangerous Minds. I don't care.
Fair enough.
Boogeyman is bad, but it's bad at least in an interesting way, whereas like Dangerous Minds, so fucking boring. It's just we were just like, oh hey, we made it all the way through this one. Like that's the bar now. We can finish it.
The bar is in hell.
We finished most of the movies.
I don't remember. What's the last movie you didn't finish?
Oh God, what was it? Fuck. I know. I mean, the most notable one, the one people give a shit for, is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh.
We fucking hate that movie. I don't know if we've hated a movie as much as Mrs. Doubtfire, other than maybe Forrest Gump. Like, people love Mrs. Doubtfire, and I get it. Like, I get a lot of nostalgia for Robin Williams too, but Robin Williams made some of the worst movies of all time. I love the guy. He was a genius in many ways. He made terrible, terrible movies. Sit down and try and watch Bicentennial Man once in your life and tell me.
Oh, I tried.
Tell me how.
I've tried.
It can't be done.
I'm going to say this. I don't mind Mrs. Doubtfire. I being an adult is realizing that he's the villain in that story, not Sally Field.
Exactly. Yes.
But
that is the conclusion we came to. Yes.
But he's like Jerry Blank. He's doing the wrong thing for all the right reasons.
It's terrible, terrible film.
But still, it's still objectively like a bad message.
So yeah, that's kind of the lesson we're learning, is that as much as there might have been anything good about the 90s, maybe like some of the music, there's a lot of garbage in the 90s, a lot of garbage.
It's true.
Also, being an adult is finally being open to understanding that Bill Clinton was a piece of shit. He just was really, he was garbage. He was maybe lesser garbage than people like H.W. Bush, who probably had people killed during his time. So maybe you have to elect him, but like they were both garbage.
Yeah, that's not a controversial statement to me. Bill Clinton
for years, I know
president.
I couldn't admit that for years.
He is the first president I ever voted for.
Same.
And I think he had a lot of good policies, but he's a pretty garbage human. And he's the one everybody now is like, well, what if Clinton is in the Epstein files? Good. Take him out.
Take him.
Don't fucking care.
Throw away the fucking key. I don't care.
All these guys who, like, I've seen a couple of guys in town recently with kill your local pedophile shirts on. and they're wearing a red hat. And I'm like,
bad news, buddy.
Oh, he's not local. That's why he gets a pass. Okay. Sure.
He hates the same people we do.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Pretty much. So yeah, I look at the 90s now, and we're talking about a time when John Michael Montgomery, a country singer, and All for One, an R&B group, had simultaneous hits with the same song twice in the 90s. Like twice, the exact same groups had the exact same song on the exact same charts.
Do you and Amy share a brain sometimes? Because she was complaining about John Michael Montgomery on the Dangerous Minds episode.
No way.
I swear to God. She went off on a tangent on him.
Well, because remember when we were talking about Freakier Friday, I thought that's who Chad Michael Montgomery was, or Chad, whatever.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah.
I'm excited for people to hear the Dangerous Minds episode. Amy is so on point. She guessed everything before it happened, and she hadn't seen the movie before.
Well, do you remember the group All for One?
Oh, sure.
And they had their biggest hit was I Swear.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had I Can Love You Like That. So did he.
Oh, yeah. I was in radio at the time. I remember.
Yeah, I don't.
I've been in radio over 30 years now.
Wow, you're old.
Fuck you. Hey, you've been an artist for what, 40 years?
Well, I'm older than you, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm old. I'm a crypt keeper. Yeah, I was talking to a friend at work, and he was saying how he was old. We were talking about Grindr. You're familiar with Grindr, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Grindr is a gay dating app. Well, dating in quotation marks, but it's also in our area. It's basically where straight guys experiment with trans women and then move on to gay guys. And they don't ever have a picture. And then when you ask them, I'm discreet. Yeah, sure you are. And he was like, I'm old, and he's 30. I was like, fuck you. And the whore he wrote in on, you are not old. Well, okay, I'm 31. I'm like, okay, you're a gay guy and you're admitting the fact that you're 30. That means you're 34, but whatever. But yeah, I'm just like, I talked to this new kid at work about, we're talking about music, because he said, oh, he just moved here, and he's like, what do you do for fun? And I said, oh, go to the movies a lot, watch a lot of movies, stay home and avoid people. And then on Wednesdays we go do a Name That Tune trivia. And I said, it's like literally one of the only things I look forward to all through the week that isn't kind of workish. Like sometimes the podcast is really workish, Sean. But you know that. But it's like the only thing. He's like, oh, really? I said, he goes, do you guys win? I said, yeah, we win a lot because we have, 2 generations, but we kind of have, well, there's 3 generations when our cousins, twins come, because they're 21, 22. And he was like, oh, wow. He goes, like, what kind of music do you listen to? And I said, mostly like 80s and pop and stuff. It's like 80s. I don't really like oldies. I was like, ah. And then he had to remind me that we grew up in the like our touchstones are the 80s music, and we were closer to the 50s, the quote unquote oldies, when we were, when we were teenagers, than he is as a 25-year-old to the 80s, which is 40 fucking years ago. Oh, and I just wanted to just jump in front of a train, but
Yeah. I remember a bunch of people got mad at me when I was running a station called Rewind 93.9, and we're putting together like 60s to 70s music, and then I said, "Oh, well, we're going to add some 80s music." And they're like, those aren't oldies, you can't have those." What are you talking about? We're going to play Billie Jean. It's like, no, you can't have 80s. Those aren't oldies. You can't do that.
you sure
That was in
about that?
2010.
Yeah,
But I did it. I didn't care. I don't get worked up like that.
I'm loath
Especially when
to
somebody
admit.
tells me not to do something like that.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
certainly something as harmless as that. I'm going ahead to do that.
Oh, as you should. As you should.
Well, let's see. We talk about movies in this show, I think. Let's start. I guess we got 3 movies to talk about this week. 2 of them are part of a double bill, Nobody and Nobody 2. So I guess we'll jump back to Nobody and come to Nobody 2, and then close with our classic.
Okay.
So Nobody is the story of Hutch Mansell, played by Bob Odenkirk. He's a guy, kind of an accountant-like guy, running his family business of sorts, underneath his father-in-law, played by Michael Ironside. He's got a boring kind of routine every day that just it's kind of grinding him down, kind of getting boring. Then one night, 2 people break into his house, and they're robbing the place, and he looks like he might go off and start hurting them, but then he lets him go even after they've hit his son. But then he finds out that his daughter's uh, bunny, like rabbit, whatever it was, goes missing, and he said, and that touches him off, and we find out that he's secretly a killer, one of the most efficient and terrifying killers in the world. And the switch that he flips is so fucking cool. I really had a great time when I saw this back in 2021 when they finally put it out in theaters, and of course it did really well on video on demand, where it became like a kind of a minor phenomenon at the time. But I really love that bus actions. That bus fight scene is one of my favorite scenes I've seen in any movies. It's one of the great fight scenes I think of all time, and it's really what sets this movie apart for me.
Yeah, I think that the action on the first one is surprisingly good, um, for a movie that I never ever expected to enjoy. Um,
Do you watch many action movies, or?
Well, because of the show I do, and I
Mhm.
do like older action movies. Like I'm a big fan of a lot of the James Cameron stuff that we'll talk about later. But I, it's not my go-to. Everybody knows by now, if you've listened to the show twice, that horror is my go-to. But I do like some sci-fi action stuff, and I do like your basic bitch Marvel movies and DC and stuff. Um, but stuff like this and John Wick, which this could easily, I know it's written by the same guy, it could easily be from the world of John Wick. Um,
There was
there was
talk at the
actually,
time of a
yeah,
crossover kind of thing.
there was talk of at least Keanu doing just a cameo, which I thought would have been kind of cool because this is John Wick. This is like, everything about this screams John Wick to me. The best parts, and Bob Odenkirk is somebody I've liked for years and years and years. No matter what he does, I seem to like him. I remember when he was on Breaking Bad as Saul, and I was like, that's Bob. Why is Bob Odenkirk on this like serious ass show? And it's like for comic relief, except as the show went on, he was less and less comic relief and more, an integral part of it, of the drama. So I wasn't surprised. I guess I was surprised at first, and I was like, well, no, he's Jimmy McGill. He's not necessarily just a comedy writer, but
That's
yeah.
how
So
he sees
I
himself initially, and throughout his life. I just read his book like just last week, his biography, and he says his best skill as a dramatic actor is he has no personal boundaries. And I think that applies also to his action work. He doesn't care if he's like getting in your face and putting his hands on you. He has no boundaries that way. And I'm like, that's fascinating.
that's actually very, very interesting and makes a lot of sense when you watch this movie.
It does. Like you got to get into some close quarters for these fights, and he seems just perfectly happy and capable of doing that.
Yeah, he's got no real compunctions about do kind of anything in these movies. So
And the casting is just so. I mean, he's incredible. Like he just immediately grabs you from like, how is this guy cast as a badass action hero, and then he just does it, and it's like, okay, I buy that. But then you add in like Christopher Lloyd as his dad. It's like, wow, that's a cool. I kind of want to see. I like seeing like badass Christopher Lloyd. That's kind of cool.
yeah,
They recognize his age. They don't have him like doing things that he can't possibly do for his age, but at the same time he knows what he knows. He still knows his way around a gun, still knows his way around explosives, and that's a skill that doesn't fade.
one of my favorite things about this franchise is that Connie Nielsen is in it. She's really good as an actor. B, she is age appropriate.
That's yeah. Weirdly, that is like something you need to point out because it's like it's so rare.
Well, I honestly, you get these movies, where the protagonist is 50 to 60 years old, and they are suddenly paired with somebody who's 20. And while that's fun in real life once or twice, you just can't make a relationship out of it because I just don't get my references. So thank you, Mike, for that. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, Connie Nielsen, who is, like just 3 years younger than Bob Odenkirk. So that is more than appropriate. If she'd been my age, I would have been, it's okay. It's not as bad, but it's still not great optics wise. But the fact that he's like 60,
He's 62 now.
63, 60, 62, and she's 58, 59. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, I'm here for it.
They could have gone to high school together. It's just weird. And also she doesn't like, she's not the typical wife in this situation who's constantly freaking out and like telling him not to do these things. She's certainly not wanting him to be in these dangerous situations, but she's not like the wet blanket character, which you often get with these types of movies. You get these wet blanket characters who don't want the cool guy to do the cool thing anymore because he's got responsibilities. And I think they found a nice balance to where like she is genuinely concerned and her concerns are valid, but they're not making her the bad guy.
Right. She could easily be turned into the bad guy in these where, she's just the one who's just mad that he won't show up. And they do play with that a little bit in the second one where he's just, she knows by then what is going on and how he has to do this, this stuff to kind of keep a roof over their heads. But she doesn't necessarily like it. So I think, in the first one where she's just kind of like, what is going on? What are you doing? And then, it kind of all hits her and she's like, okay, you got to do what you got to do. I might not like it, but I'm not gonna, all my scenes aren't going to be me harping on the fact that I don't like it. So
Right. And she's just the appropriate amount of turned on by his new confidence.
yeah, yeah.
Which I enjoyed that as well. Like I think they just strike the perfect balance. They've got tremendous chemistry, the two of them. They like you said, they're age appropriate, and that all really works. There's nothing about this I don't enjoy. Like RZA's introduction is just very funny to me. I love that they have this little open communication thing that they do, where he'll just be hanging out, and Bob will just be listening to him play music, and they'll just start chatting. It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
such a cool way for spies to talk that they came up with. I thought that was a really clever little invention, and then him showing up at just the right time, like he does. Like did they, like RZA and Bob Odenkirk, and it's like somebody pulled this out of a fucking pulled names out of a hat. Christopher Lloyd, Bob Odenkirk, RZA. Go
Well,
make an
this
action
goes to
movie.
show it goes to show too that Bob Odenkirk has chemistry with literally everyone he interacts with.
True.
And not just in this, in Nobody or Nobody 2, but just he did a one episode thing on The Office, and him and um Pam, Jenna Fisher, they were just they really just one or two scenes, and they really had this chemistry. Like, you got it. You got that they were a good on-screen pairing, and I think that goes for everybody in this movie, and the sequel. So
hmm Yeah, and I mean
yeah.
the in the post with Tom Hanks, like he's striking.
Yep.
He's incredibly striking in that film, and he was even on several episodes of How I Met Your Mother, where he just melts right into that cast as well. Like the guy can do anything.
Yeah. I've never seen that show, but yeah.
You just not again. I mean, even though it's a comedy show, it's still not something that you see him in. And it's funny to hear him talk about himself. He's not a full of himself guy, but he's certainly a confident guy. He speaks of his life very very clearly and very distinctly, and he has this edge of just. His father had kind of an explosive temper, and he's kind of figured out how to kind of keep his in check to not be a terrible person. But he says, I still have that. I still have that ability to tap into this explosive rage that is just kind of creates this constant tension throughout his entire life, especially when it comes to business dealings, or especially if somebody tells him he can't do something. Like he's got that he's got a little spark in him, and you can hear it when he's talking about his life. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And suits him well for this movie too, because he brought that to Nobody. He brings it to Nobody 2, where this time he's trying to make up for what he did in Nobody 1, which spoiler alert, he destroys the entire Russian mob's millions of dollars of fortune in a fire, and he has to pay them back by killing the people that they ask him to kill. And so that's what he does. He kills dangerous people for large amounts of money, but it's taking him away from the family. It's created this sort of new routine that has kind of got him sunk down again. And to get out of that, he decides that the family should go on a vacation. And he remembers when his dad took him on the only vacation that he and his brother and his dad ever went on, and it was at this theme park that's kind of like out of a vacation movie. It's kind
Yeah.
of like that.
Wally World.
It's kind of like Wally World, and it's got a water park and all the accoutrements, and he has a lot of good. He has one really nice memory there, except he didn't realize that his dad was actually working, and that this town is actually a front for a whole lot of criminality being run by Sharon Stone, of all people, who definitely seems to be enjoying herself playing the bad girl role in this one.
You mean playing Sam Rockwell
He's kind of
in
doing a
Iron Man
Sam
2?
Rockwell and an Iron Man too. Yeah, she's just kind of dancing randomly, just killing people just like randomly. Yeah, but she's having a great time. I enjoyed what she was doing, and I enjoyed the challenge that she provides to Odenkirk's character. I especially loved my favorite part of this is Colin Hanks, who is like Colin Hanks is like the perfect douchebag cop in a small town. Like just the
Yep.
overinflated ego that he has, and like just thinking he's so much in charge of everything, and he just gets everything wrong every single time. It is
Yep.
so funny to me. I just adored that he captured that, because I know I grew up seeing police officers in our small town who were like, they felt like they were a big deal because they're a cop, and it's like, dude,
Oh yeah.
everybody knows you. Nobody's intimidated by you at all.
We had one who he got moved around a lot because he would go in and hit on all the like high school girls, call them all over, and he got moved around quite a bit. But yeah, I was just like, yep, that's Colin Hanks.
The police were the original Catholic Church.
Well, they're in a uniform,
Uh,
just like the Catholic Church. A
Colin
little
Hanks
less
just
frilly.
it's completely nails it. He's so, he has no sense of humor, and that's part of what makes him completely hilarious, is that he's just has zero sense of humor.
Well, and the fact that he thinks he's a big fish in a small pond
Mm-hmm.
when he's like the littlest fish in this pond.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, this pond goes on for a long time, and he thinks he's hot shit, but he's just cold diarrhea. So
But he makes the most of every scene that he's in. He's just eating the entire movie, and it's just I loved what he did, and he's not even
yeah.
there for that long. Like he's even gone before the final act begins, but still, the impression that he makes while he's there is great. Uh, all of the fight scenes are just, again, exceptionally coordinated. Apparently, Bob Odenkirk got into even better shape this time. And this is him coming off a heart attack, too.
Yeah.
His book kind of leaves off right before he had this heart attack that nearly killed him. And he's bounced back from that. And apparently, he's got in an even better shape to be in this movie and to make this movie. And that leads to like the fight on the duck boat, which is just, I didn't know. Like that scene kept going on, and I'm like, how is this? It's still going, and it's still good. Can't believe it. The duck boat fight is fantastic, and then it just what they did. They get a when he's finally when he burns Sharon Stone's money. Of course, they've got a great fight scene during that sequence, and then the final fight in the park where they're just using all the various park stuff like the ball pit and the. The great one was the water slide. That was phenomenal. That was straight out of a horror movie.
Yeah, when the blood is coming down, I'm like, oh, this is like, I wish they'd done that in The Strangers Pray at Night. That would have been perfect.
Oh man, I'd take any kind of innovation in the Strangers movie. But anyway, yeah, just so good. And then of course getting RZA back and giving him a fucking katana fight. Like, yeah, give me some of that. I'll take some of that.
Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, I wonder if he said, if he said, I'll come back, but you got to give me a katana fight because it's so right up his alley.
It so is. It's the imagery, like he did that during Wu-Tang, and he's done several movies where he's he loves those classic karate movie tropes. So he had to be just loving that scene.
Yeah, definitely.
The kids get like the older son gets a moment to be a badass. Connie Nielsen gets a good moment where she gets to at least fire a gun, which I thought was cool. I just the really smart choices. I don't understand though. Why did this movie fail? It made under $10 million over the weekend. It's not
Really,
exactly the
that's all?
same movie as the first one, but certainly it's as good as the first one, I would say.
Well, I would argue that the first one did as well as it did because it was one of the first movies that was in theaters, quote unquote, after COVID.
Fair.
One of the first movies that after they reopened stuff,
Hmm.
that was that. I think that had a lot to do with how much money it did.
Sure.
Um, it also because a lot of people were kind of held hostage in their homes by COVID. The streaming numbers were good on it as well because it was something new, and they're like, "Well, we're not going to go to the theaters yet, so we'll just watch it at home." And
There's also that whole John Wick thing where people were comparing it with John Wick, and of course John Wick already having been a hit, fairly recently before that. It certainly had to have helped the profile of the first film. I still thought people would come back for the second one because it is.
I did too.
I'm not sure. Maybe something about the ad campaign didn't connect. I mean, the ad campaign, it's all right, but yeah, it did kind of focus on it kind of being a little more comic, and maybe they needed to go a little darker.
Yeah. My theater wasn't really very full, but it was also one of the biggest theaters. It was in the biggest theater. But as I was leaving, I saw more people going into Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Weapons than anything else. So
I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Me too. I mean, sad that I didn't stay and watch it, but
I wish I could have. I really wish I could have. And did you ever in your life think that I would be sitting here across from you saying that I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the greatest movies ever made?
Nope. Not for a hot second.
Because I honestly do believe that. That is an honest to goodness belief. I don't say that to surprise people or to as a hot take. I legitimately believe it is one of the greatest movies ever made. If you give it the chance, if you watch it as you're supposed to see it, it is one of the greatest movies.
You're not wrong. It's not the best movie that came out in 1974, but it is the second best. Aren't you going to ask?
Black Christmas?
You already know. Yeah. You already know what I'm going to say.
If it had been set at Christmas, though, Texas Chainsaw would win.
Shut up, Sean.
Oh.
No, I have seen Texas Chainsaw in the theaters, so I wasn't, too broken up about the fact that I couldn't go, but still, I was just,
I just want to see it on the big screen every time it's there.
Yeah.
We both like Nobody 2. We both like Nobody. Go see these movies. Why aren't you going to see Nobody 2, folks? It's good. I mean, Weapons is great. If you've seen Weapons, go see Nobody now.
So every time I go to the theater, I look at popcorn buckets because you collect them. I want to see if there's anything good that you have to have. I decided that as much as I love the Megan one, the only one that would usurp its place on my desk is if they did an Aunt Gladys from Weapons. Could you imagine?
Oh, I can't even begin.
And you eat the popcorn out of her head.
Oh, God.
I would love it.
It's kind of in that dark period for popcorn buckets at the moment. The best one going right now is I picked up the Toxic Avenger bucket, and it's just a bucket of toxic waste, but it's steel. I mean, so there's that. It's metal,
Yeah. That's good. I didn't see that one. So
yeah, that's the most recent one, apparently. Unless they added something new this week, and they're not going to have any honey don't stuff, I don't think. So
no,
not every movie fits into the popcorn bucket mold.
This is true. And we're kind of in that non-blockbuster time of year that we're not going to get popcorn buckets for stuff like that.
It's unlikely. Have you seen much of the Toxic Avenger stuff?
I have not. I was never a huge fan of the original, though I have met Mark Torgl, who played Melvin. And I've met enough of the cast at different shows that it's kind of fun. But I've never it's never one of those movies where I'm like, oh my God, I love Toxie so much. So
I didn't think there was that much of an excitement for the Toxic Avenger, but apparently people are getting kind of excited, I guess. Peter Dinklage is an interesting choice.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know, it kind of gave me the vibe, though, of the Greasy Strangler a little bit, in terms of tone.
Your favorite movie?
I don't hate it anymore. There's that.
Yeah.
I watched did I tell the story? I watched the Greasy Strangler 3 seats away from the star of the Greasy Strangler.
You told me, but you haven't told the show. Tell everybody.
Yeah, that happened. So I was on a trip last week, and I stopped in Des Moines, Iowa, and I was looking for a movie to see, and I wanted to see this movie called Infernalis, which was supposed to be showing, and uh, it wasn't showing. The filmmakers didn't make it, but they were on a double bill with the Greasy Strangler, so they're like, well, we'll just start the Greasy Strangler now, and it's like, oh, I'm watching the Greasy Strangler now. And the star of the movie, who I just ripped on my podcast for his new movie, is here, and he's going to
Did you go up to him and tell him how much you hated Ebony and Ivory?
No, I did not. I did not. He was a great guy, though. Just super guy.
Did you try to get him on the show? Come on, John.
I think it would be hard to explain. I think your Ebony and Ivory movie is garbage. Greasy Strangler is not as bad as it was. Like, I remember turning off the Greasy Strangler when because I had to watch it. It was pandemic times when it first came around, and I had to watch it on a screening link. And like, I'm at home, like I don't need to do this. I shut this bullshit off. This is ugly and gross. So when you're trapped in a movie theater and you're forced to watch it, it's kind of like, this isn't that bad.
Well, okay.
I don't hate this. This is interesting. An old man covers himself in grease, gets naked, and cuts people's heads off. And he's got a giant dick. Just a giant dick.
Excuse me. Wow. Okay. I have not seen it. I have met the guys at different cons. I was gonna go buy one of their greasy beanies for you, but
their merch is pretty cool. I didn't buy any, but I appreciate the hustle.
Yeah, if I hadn't already bought you a present, I would have probably got you.
That was a great present, though. That was a great present. That is currently sitting on my couch.
Yay! But I've
Sky Elobar, by the way.
Yes.
Sky Elobar is the star of the Greasy Strangler, and that's who I watched the movie with. He had no idea who I was. I didn't say, "Oh, hey, I'm a film critic,"
Yeah.
I had no idea though there was such a huge fandom. Like, until I talked to you, like you said, "Oh yeah, they get huge lines at cons." I'm like, "Wow."
Yep.
And they had there were people in costume in Greasy Stranglers. Like, him and his dad have this business where they do disco tours. They take people around to famous disco sites in Los Angeles dressed in these pink outfits. And so there are people dressed in these pink outfits. And I'm like, wow, I had no idea this level of fandom existed for this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how they dress at the cons too. They wear their costumes from the movie. So
thankfully they're not naked. Thankfully they're not naked in Greece.
Wow. Well, that's later. That's the after party.
Speaking of naked in Greece, Jamie Lee Curtis. She gets greased up and a little naked in True Lies.
This is true. Well, first we have to talk about the fact that our classic is True Lies, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and some dude who used to be a politician in California. But this week, the discourse around Freakier Friday is that Jamie Lee Curtis is hot. Gen Z is finally waking up to the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis is kind of hot. And I think it's mostly because she's wearing a couple outfits that show off her breastages. And that, seems to have taken everybody by surprise that this 70-year-old woman is hot. But those people have never seen our classic.
Apparently, yeah. If you've seen True Lies, you know how hot she is. You definitely have an idea of how hot she can be. So True Lies fits our theme here because nobody, Bob Odenkirk is nobody. They don't know that he's actually secretly a badass killer. And in this case, that Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't know that her husband, Arnold Schwarzenegger, is a super spy. She thinks he's like an accountant or something, and he is carrying on this secret life where he goes around the world, setting things right, stopping terrorists and whatnot, and ignoring his wife. And their marriage is falling apart to the point where she's kind of started to see this guy who actually does claim to be a spy, played by Bill Paxton, who kind of lures her in and seems to almost get something going with her until, of course, her husband does find out. And what they do to Bill Paxton in this movie is so funny. It shouldn't be, but it's like he is such a weasel that you can't help but love that he gets treated the way he does. Like, Bill Paxton is an amazing weasel in this movie.
Nobody plays a weasel quite like him. I mean, honestly, like in Aliens, when he's Hudson, he's just weaselly and oily, and and then he's oh god, he's so good in this movie. I totally forgot he was in it because I haven't seen the movie in a long time. And when we were like, "Hey, what's our classic?" Oh shit, we forgot to pick a classic, and I'm like, "Wait, this is just like Nobody except bigger, and longer, way longer." I I forgot he was in it because you just picture Jamie Lee Curtis in that little black dress dancing. I think that's like the biggest for me anyway. That's the touchstone scene. Um, he's just so good in it, and I was pleasantly surprised again.
A lot of times I have a hard time with Bill Paxton because I don't think there are times when he's just not a very good actor back in the day.
Yeah.
And I know it's not right to speak ill of the dead, but like there were movies where he was just really bad. just like Robin Williams, just like anybody, you got some bad ones out there. But when cast correctly, like he is in this movie, or like in Weird Science where he plays Chet, he's the grossest human being in the world in that movie, and that's the character. He's supposed to be that fucking gross. When he's cast right, Bill Paxton was amazing, and he was just perfectly cast for this. So was Tom Arnold. Honestly, Tom Arnold, as the comic relief partner of Arnold Schwarzenegger, gets a couple of pretty good lines, and he seems to be really, really enjoying himself.
The chemistry between those two is like amazing. It's off the charts. I was reading a little bit while I was watching it about the production and whatever, and how Jim Cameron loved him but had no idea about anything with him and Roseanne because they were getting divorced at the time. And, just that he just liked him. He liked the chemistry between those two. And everybody else was like, no, you can't cast him. Look at what a creeper he is, according to Roseanne. And then, luckily we got him for this because just so good in it.
He's very likable in this movie, very likable. And I think the important function that he really serves in this movie is lightening up Arnold, because, Arnold is a guy who's, takes himself very seriously. He takes his action very seriously, and he needed that kind of leavening from a guy like him. I mean, I think it works better here than even Jim Belushi couldn't do it in Red Heat. He seemed to be, that was supposed to be his role in that, is to make him, loosen up a little bit. Danny DeVito even kind of does it in Twins, but not nearly, I would say, enough, especially since that's a comedy. This is a action comedy, but he finally makes Arnold Schwarzenegger act like a person.
Yeah. Well, you believe him because you believe the fact that he's, just this dad who's also a spy, because he's grounded by Tom Arnold, and because of Jamie Lee Curtis, of course. So
absolutely, and she steals every scene, dude. I thought early on in the film she is kind of overplaying being dowdy a little bit, and the movie's kind of trying to make you believe that she's not like Jamie Lee Curtis. That's overplayed just a little bit early on, but once you get past the little black dress scene, she's definitely feeling herself.
Agreed. Yeah, I think, the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis at this point was known for, she kind of hit a little bit of a slump. and it was kind of surprising for people. She was just, oh, she used to be in horror movies and she's on TV and all that. And then
Uh-huh.
suddenly she's an action star. So,
And looking hot doing it, and you know,
yes.
fighting Tia Carrere and doing big action scenes.
Yeah,
Her
Tia Carrere
dangling
is
from the
another one I
helicopter.
forgot.
Her dangling from the helicopter is a great scene. That is
Agreed.
phenomenal. And you continue on from that to the Harrier jet scene, and I think Ebert captures it really well, talking about just this is so silly, and yet the movie seems to know that it's silly and it's okay that way.
Yeah.
The movie isn't going for any kind of action verisimilitude like Commando. It's going for something very silly like this. Like the terrorist is hanging from a rocket. His daughter is like clinging to the top of the jet. The jet is just
You'll
floating
fire.
there. He fires the rocket that happens to go through the building that's already destroyed to the other
Yep.
side to hit the terrorist's helicopter. That's, I mean, James Cameron himself isn't the guy who tends to have any sense of humor. So, I mean, for him to make a movie that has a sense of humor is kind of surprising.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it comes down to who he's with on set. Um, because he hired writers because he knows he's not funny. He hired writers to write some jokes and stuff, and then he threw them all out, and he kept a couple of them. But for the most part, he's just kind of like, "Yeah, this is not my wheelhouse. I'm gonna have to, bow to somebody else for once in my life." And I think he surprisingly did the right thing.
Yeah, I've never seen James Cameron be funny his entire life. The
Yeah.
entire time I've ever heard of him, he's never had a sense of humor of any kind. So to see him make this movie is one of those like, huh, well, okay, all right.
Okay, I get it. I get it. Fuck with it.
Now, can you find some kind of humor in your Avatar movie? No, okay, never mind.
No, they're all gonna suck.
They're
Sorry.
all just gonna be pretending to be Native American tropes.
Yep. Fern Gully.
Oh no! I'm so not excited.
We might have to all be calling sick that week.
Oh no,
I'm
the
sick.
podcast is on strike. Oh no. I mean, if he's gonna, fire all of his actors, then we should be able to fire him as a director.
Yeah, okay.
That's what this
The
is
thing is
about.
like,
He doesn't want to work with actors anymore. That's what it is.
yeah, I don't. Okay, hate. I don't hate him. Okay, I actually like a lot of his stuff.
Uh-huh.
Mostly his early stuff where he was teamed up with, Linda Hamilton in The Terminator, and now it's just he's got a vision and he can't compromise it for anything, even at the expense of a decent story, or not doing the same thing over and over and over. And some people might say, oh well, that was he was just doing these big action movies over and over and over, and I don't think so. I think that most of his stuff has kind of a heart to it. um but surprisingly, a movie about saving a planet doesn't have heart. It's just spectacle.
Indeed. But oftentimes when I'm thinking about James Cameron's stuff, I find that like the humanity almost has to sneak out the sides. Whether it's like Edward
Yeah.
Furlong being just a kid, just making that move, making Terminator 2, like, and Joe Morton, kind of being just a regular guy, kind of bringing something to that's probably not in the script, that's probably not in his direction. I feel
Oh yeah.
Linda Hamilton in the original Terminator is the very obvious part of that. Like she's bringing actual humanity to this role that probably wasn't in the script.
Yeah. Yeah. She.
But now that he's like the biggest, biggest director in the world, he can force the humanity out of his stuff and be the robot that he wants to be, just like George
Yeah.
Lucas. And Robert Zemeckis.
Oh.
All of whom just apparently hate actors.
Oh. I don't think George Lucas hates actors. I think he loves technology more than he loves people.
Mm.
But I don't think he hates actors. Otherwise, I don't think he would have, you know, gotten some decent ones and tried to drain all the humanity out of them. Um, did I say that out loud? But yeah, this is like my last favorite James Cameron movie.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I love Terminator. I love Terminator 2. I loved this. And then after, it's just like, okay, I guess, Avatar's fine, but it's Dances with Wolves. And
It truly is. Ugh.
the only thing about it that's really groundbreaking are the special effects. I feel like with Titanic, he wanted to show the shipwreck and the sinking of it. I don't think he
Mhm.
really he just had to think of something,
Yeah. Though he
to
really wanted
kind of
an
frame it.
excuse to go to Titanic. That's what
Yeah,
and they're like, "Well, make us a Titanic movie." He's like, "Oh, okay, not a documentary. All right."
yeah. But like Aliens was great, especially the director's cut. I really liked that a lot. Um, but I think that he started like all of the um all the Avatar stuff just completely just has no soul, has nothing for it. Um, The Way of Water. God, I hated that movie. And we talked about that,
Dreary. Yeah.
it was just so, like there's nothing soulful about it. It was all just, oh, make this animated movie. And you know how I feel
It
about
looks like
animated movies.
and now it looks like AI art basically. It
Yeah,
looks empty and soulless like AI
yeah.
art.
I mean, I think the Piranha 2 had more heart and actual soul in it than the
Amen.
second Avatar movie,
I agree.
you know? But he, one thing I like about him is that, yes, he is advancing technology in a way that maybe nobody else would do if he wasn't doing these big spectacle movies. However, look at T2 was great. And that was because he connected with the actors on it. And it was one of the most groundbreaking special effects movies of all time. But he really
I think
cared
the act
about,
I think the actors worked around it, but I see what you're I know what you're saying.
you know what I mean? That was
Yeah.
but and then True Lies was like, okay, this is the last movie I really loved. Titanic, I loved as soon as the boat hit the iceberg, I was totally in there. But I think he
Mhm.
was too.
Mhm.
He didn't care about anything else. He didn't care about Rose or Jack. He just, okay, let's hastily write this love story. I think Kate Winslet rose above it.
Yeah. I can see that.
I think she was putting her all, um, but he was more about the special effects. So
No doubt. And I think once he got that power, I think that's pretty much where the humanity just sort of left his work.
yeah,
But hey, True Lies is good. So there you go.
True Lies is very good. Yeah,
In fact, we watched 3 good movies this week. Nobody 2 and True Lies.
yes, I agree.
So rare to be able to watch so many good movies. I also saw a new Jeff Buckley documentary called It Never Ends, Jeff Buckley, and it's just amazing. Everybody go see it. It's beautiful. Music is incredible, of course, and highly recommend that. Next week, Honey Don't, starring Margaret Qualley and Aubrey Plaza and Chris Evans. We've got Eden, directed by Ron Howard and starring Anna de Armas and Jude Law. We've got several other movies that are coming out. Trust is coming out. Relay, starring Riz Ahmed, is coming out. It's Riz Ahmed, and I can't see the other actor's name. Anyway, that's coming out this weekend. Something called Primitive War. I've never heard of that. Hell House LLC Lineage. What was Hell House?
Hell House is basically they're going. It's like a carnival. Um, they go. It's like they're going into. It's kind of like we saw Funhouse a few weeks ago. It's similar to
Sure.
that, where they go into a carnival and they're picked off one by one.
Yeah,
Where's that going to be at?
That's going to be at Cinemark. That'll be our local Cinemark.
Is it? I was looking at Friday and I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's there. I'm looking at it right now. So yeah, there's a lot of new movies out this weekend. Who knows which ones we'll actually get to? I know for sure, Honey Don't. I know for sure that I'm going to see Eden. I do want to see Hell House, I guess. But Relay's got an interesting premise. A woman gets into trouble having as a whistleblower, and Riz Ahmed plays a fixer who's going to get her out of it. Trust stars Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones. A Hollywood starlet retreats to a remote cabin after a scandal, but she's not alone. Betrayed by the man she trusted the most, she soon finds herself trapped in a brutal game of survival.
Oh, I've seen the trailer for that. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I've seen it.
So yeah, that's what Trust is. So I'm going to try and get to as many as I can, but I can't with this many movies. It's not going to be every one of them. I'm certainly not interested in Primitive War in any way. It looks like dinosaurs in the Vietnam War.
Oh God,
I don't know. Missing Green Beret platoon must face the most terrifying creatures to ever walk the earth. And it's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. Fuck you.
No.
It's got no stars in it. Like, why would I want to sit through this? Where's my interest in sitting through that?
Yeah.
If they'll pay me to see it, maybe I'll see it. But I'm not. I currently don't have a commission for that, so fuck it. Fuck them.
Oh yeah.
All right, Jeff, and of course you'll have a classic for next week.
Yeah, I'll try to think of something.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Have a good one.